So welcome back to chapter 1-2. This chapter's pretty short.
Over here, stranger.
And it's the first time we're going to encounter the merchant. Go out here, go to your right, and get the barrel. And then follow him around to the left-hand side of the house.
Got something that might interest you. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. What are you buying?
So, if you look at the guns, there's 4 stats for everything. There's firepower, firing speed, reload speed, and capacity. Now, there are unique aspects of each gun which get upgraded from an exclusive upgrade, which happens when you max out. However, that happens much later.
Selling?
Right now, we're going to sell some items. An important note is do not use your incendiary grenades. We're going to need those for Batoras Mendez, the big chief of the village.
Thank you.
Always save your incendiary grenades. We're going to have 2 bosses that use them primarily,
What are you
U3
buying?
and the
Is
chief.
that all, Thank you.
While you can get the rifle here, I find it's generally not needed. The merchant functions on kind of a chapter basis where his upgrades and parts just depend on whatever chapter you're on, even if you see him multiple times in the same level. At this point, it's just best to get the attaché case and just increase it. So this bunch of ganados can be a bit tough. Usually that guy will yell at you as soon as you go through the gate. He's kind of hidden behind the wall there, and then he just summons a whole bunch of guys. I'd say the best aspect to complete this part is just to keep moving forward. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually moving through the house to get half of the moon crest. Keep moving. And note that you are invincible on ladders. That's always a great thing to have. There's a couple granados here that have dynamite, and they can help blow the other granados away, which is what just happened there. There's a little back way from the house that you can kind of pigeonhole, but I'm actually going to move upwards to the second chest in order to fight them from there. So while you can fight from right at the entrance, I find that this place is a bit easier because there's a barrel there and that the ganados have to jump over the barriers in order to get to you. Now, one of the problems with this part is that do not pick up the moon crest. If you pick up the moon crest, the second one, it's going to spawn more guys, and there's already a ton of them that are just coming our way. I would say focus on shooting them as they go over the barricade. That'll help them fall down. Again, watch your reloading and reload when you have a free moment and don't get too greedy like myself. Just keep moving back and forth. So unlike Resident Evil 5 and 6, which have kind of a live menu, Resident Evil 4 still has that pause inventory menu, and it's very useful to just kind of switch between weapons on the fly and just get a break. That was a pretty bad move on my part. I got greedy and tried to get the kick in there, but turned out to be not the best. You will also notice that if a Ganado grabs you from the back, it does not reduce your health like it does for the other one. So a note about the regular shotgun. There is an exclusive upgrade that you get that will allow you to have the same firepower from all distances. This is a cool upgrade. However, one of the things that happens is that while the damage is the same throughout all the distances, the knockback is not. So it can be a bit deceiving if you shoot someone from very far away and they stagger, because it still does the same amount of damage, but they just don't go flying or move very fast. You can kind of see we summoned those Ganados down there and they're about to come up. I usually take this fight down near the ground. There's going to be a dynamite stick thrower on the house, and it's just really easy for him to just blow everyone up. This is a good place where you can fight. It kind of limits them to kind of come through at you one at a time. Keep switching as needed, help to create a space for yourself. Now, you see that that guy is moving without a head. It is common in this game that if you decapitate someone while they're in the middle of the animation, it tends to complete. So it's actually very easy for somewhat dead Ganado to just grab you and just kill you. Usually they'll just throw you on the ground, even though they're headless and they should be dropping dead. It's one of the little, like, small quirks that just hasn't aged well, but just be wary of that if you do decapitate someone, they still can kill you. So that was a bit dangerous to allow him to come up because that dynamite will explode if it takes too long, but I was able to kick him off the edge. Use the sound cues to your advantage. Now that the music has stopped, there's no more enemies in the area. Go into this house and grab the money and a yellow herb that's always here, and we're going to proceed through the double doors. So coming up, we have just kind of this little route through the building. This part can be kind of tricky depending on how many sickles there are. There's going to be a point where you're going to have to jump through the glass and use this kind of cover system to deal with these guys with the dynamite. I was a bit too reckless when I did this and ended up almost dying to bear traps, which we'll get into when we get to that part. There's going to be a guy on your left. He's going to start the initial threat. So one thing you're starting to notice is that the initial handgun is quite unsteady, even at kind of medium-long range. If you're kind of trying to line up headshots, it can be a bit difficult to wield. Luckily, we're going to be using the Punisher very soon, but this is just something to keep in mind, that it's kind of hard to just maintain your distance and get good shots in at this part of the game. The normal handgun does come with an exclusive upgrade, which increases kind of decapitation rates by a high percentage amount. These are pure decapitation rates that will help to dispel any plagas that may have sprouted. I know that might not make much sense right now, but we'll get to that in chapter 2-1. So it's important to get away from the traps on the floor. I just got double whammied there through the recovery animation. I think it's best to, if you shoot the dynamite out of the air, to just go to the right-hand side and then just knife the two on the bottom just to trigger the traps. There's going to be these guys that kind of come through the door. This is a good spot, although a bit tight, to be able to deal with them. Not taking any chances here. To the left, we're finally going to get the elegant mask. Just break it with your knife and just grab it. There are 3 gems that you need to make it at its full value, but we're not going to be able to complete that until chapter 2-3. There's going to be one final guy here, and after we do that, we're going to get some of the fishes down in the fishery. So there's several different things you can get here. There's a large black bass, which I'm trying to knife my way through. I eventually get him. I believe there's 2 medium basses that you can get, and then a couple small ones. Usually you just want the big bass. It takes up a lot of inventory space, but it counts as a first aid spray, which is super awesome. It can be good to get a couple more fishes, but this is usually like the main part where you can get some of the fishes. There's going to be a part where you can get some on the lake, but it can be it's more difficult than it is right here. I usually recommend grabbing at least a large bass. It's always good to have an additional healing item when you can. So you want to shoot the crows from nearest to farthest. There actually is one way up there. It's kind of a bit hard to see. It blends in with the ground, but you can get it. Then you want to turn to your left and get another item. Same thing. Prevent it from going into the dirty water. The best way to get around this is the bear trap on the left-hand side. There are some bear traps in between the trees, but it's just an easier way to just get around it. Just checking for birds' nests. There's 2 in the front that we're going to get. This is the house of the chief. There's going to be a puzzle here. Just match the symbol. I think up and to the left is what I usually use. Come in here, grab some goodies, and that'll be the end of the chapter. Congratulations.
un rumor que hay un extranjero entre nosotros.
Nuestro jefe se cuidará de la rata. Si la plaga es mucho mejor que la nuestra.
Tienes razón. Es un hombre.
You carry the same blood as us, it seems. Nevertheless, you're an outsider. Just remember, if you become unpleasant to our eyes, you'll face severe consequences.
What? Same blood.